It's like, I didn't know, I mean, I've heard you at other times, but I didn't know that I was going to come and see some real old, I didn't know that I was going to come here and see some old, angry guy, you know, rail against all the things that are wrong, and yet I listen to you and I feel like, he seems like such a nice guy. It's like, how the hell are you not, I mean, all of what you've seen and know, how is it that you just aren't fuming all the time? You know, that smoke's not coming out of you. You know, I'm not. You are, and I want the secret to that. But I guess the other question underneath that is, do you see more reasons for hope now than at other periods in the last, 7 decades, or, how do you see it personally and historically? Thank you.
Well, I think things are, better now than they've been at a lot of other times. Like they're better now than during Wilson's Red Scare. They're better now than during in many ways better than the 1960s. The repression in the 1960s was worse than it is now. It was COINTELPRO, the government program, FBI run program to criminalize dissent, really criminalize it. Started with the Communist Party, Puerto Ricans, the black movement, the New Left, the women's movement, very broad. I mean, it went all the way to political assassination before it was turned off. Okay, that was pretty serious. Political assassination of a black organizer, Fred Hampton, and Mark Cook was with him. Well, it's not that bad. And in many respects, it's a lot better. Because the society, as I said, the post-Vietnam War repression didn't really work. The activist movements continued. The feminist movement has, probably changed the society more than any other one. That's mostly the 70s. The environmental movement barely began to take off around 1970. It's now a substantial movement. Opposition to aggression is far higher than it was. There's a lot of talk about, how come there's no opposition to the Iraq War as there was to the Vietnam War? That's amnesia. I mean, at any stage of the Vietnam War, of the Iraq War, which was like the Vietnam War, in Vietnam there was no protest at all. In fact, the government could never do the things it did with impunity in Vietnam. They couldn't carry out chemical warfare like John F. Kennedy started. They couldn't have saturation B-52 bombing. They didn't drive millions of people into concentration camps to separate them from the guerrillas and so on. They did a lot of ugly and horrible things, but they couldn't do anything like what they did in Vietnam. And the reason is there was just a lot more protest. Can't get away with that stuff now. Okay, that's a legacy. That's a legacy that you can use or you can abandon. Now, one of the striking things about today is how easy it is to abandon the legacy. So there is this strange sense of hopelessness. Everything's impossible. I can't do anything. Huge monster. What can I do? Okay, that's a gift to the power centers. And it's a free gift. You don't have to give it to them. So there's a legacy you can build on. It's easier now than it was in the past. And that's a reason for hope. A reason for pessimism is not, the opportunity isn't being used. In that respect, it's kind of like the 50s, but even more striking, I think, because we have a much better standpoint.